Hello students and families. I want to introduce you to the Whittle Springs Agenda. This is a tool that all Whittle Springs students use every day to support them in their middle school career. So they just received this agenda and they have hopefully already placed their name there in the little see-through window. But I would also like to make sure that they have filled in the information on that first page as well. And this helps their agenda to get back to them in case it ever gets lost or misplaced. The in case of emergency section of the front cover is optional, but it's always good information for a teacher to be able to access. On the first page of their agenda is a letter from the administrative team. And there's just a few things that I wanted to highlight and point out. That each student is given an agenda in order to create organization and better communication, and they should be using this every day. This is used for PBIS incentive programs as well as their hall pass, so they are not allowed to leave the room without having this agenda filled out and signed, which I'll show you in just a minute. If they do misplace their agenda, they can always purchase another one for $5. And if you need any additional information, you can always visit the school website throughout the year. For communication this year, there's some information here about different ways to communicate with the school and with your students' teachers. The Parent Square is an app that we're using, and it's very useful communication tools because it will translate up to 100 different languages. Parent Portal is something that has been used for quite a few years within Knox County schools, and this allows you to email the students' teachers and set automatic email notification if a grade falls below a specific threshold. So if you're worried about your students' progress in their classes and you want to get notifications every time that their grades drop below a certain point, you can have that set up. And if you need help with that, there's an email address and a phone number for that as well. Canvas is an online platform that we use, and you as a parent can set up your own login information to access Canvas, and this is something where you can easily see upcoming assignments and files that your student might be using for assignments. And then you can always call the school to set up a parent-teacher conference or parent administrator conference by calling the school's phone number. Or emailing the teacher directly. It has a page there that gives information about arrival and drop-off, so all drop-off can happen as early as 7:30, and they must be in their classrooms by 8:30, and dismissal begins at 3:30. Early dismissal will stop at 3 o'clock unless there's an extreme emergency. You also have the bell schedule for your students, so you'll know what period they are in at what time during the day, along with the warrior expectations. The grading policy is that 60% of your student's grade will be made up of assessments and 40% of your student's grade will be made up of daily learning. And then for the spring semester, 15% of the child's grade will be from the TN Ready or EOC, and that will be in the assessment category. We have 4 grading periods. The end of the first 9 weeks is October 8th. The end of the second 9 weeks is December 15th. Third 9 weeks is March 11th, and fourth 9 weeks is May 23rd. That's the maximum due date that assignments can be turned in to be on that grading period. Chromebooks are provided to all students, and you can find any additional information on Chromebooks located at the website there, at the bottom of that page. Cell phone policy is outlined within the agenda, and they're called personal communication devices, but cell phones, that they are allowed on the school property, but they must be off at all times, and it tells the outline of what happens for first offense, second offense, third offense, and so on. It also explains why lockers will not be used during the school year. It talks about some different programs that we have at the school, and that students are not allowed to receive food deliveries or any other items such as flowers, cards, or gifts during the school day. And then that at the end of the school pages, there is a sheet where you can consent to the school handbook and show that you have read and understand this. So this is somewhere where both the student and the parent can acknowledge that you understand the policies and procedures listed in the agenda. The following pages are the Knox County policies. So those were our schools policies prior, and these are the Knox County policies. There's quite a few of them, but they're good to be aware of. It's at the bottom, it is labeled as KC12. The grading percentages is incorrect, so if you wanted to go to that page and correct that, you can. We have moved to a 10-point grading scale for this school year. It also has the Knox County School Calendar, which can be extremely useful. You'll be able to see every one of the events and holidays and things like that throughout the school year. And then that moves on to the actual agenda itself. There's some very useful maps, study skills, things like that. There's an example of how to fill out the agenda. There's the entire year's worth of calendar, which was always kind of fun to go through as a parent or guardian and student and maybe put in birthdays or special events that happen throughout the year. But the actual agenda pages look like this. So your student will have a column for each day of the week. They will write down the assignments and or homework assignments that are given to them that day within their class. And there is a spot to check off as they complete these assignments. And then at the very bottom of the column, there's also a spot where parent or guardian could write if there are changes in the way that the student will be getting home. So for instance, if a student was going to be a bus rider for one day, the parent could write that and then initial it so that the parent or the teacher is aware of this change. The student also uses this as their hall pass, and that takes place right here. So if the student needs to leave the room for any reason at all, they'll put the date, the time, where it is that they're going, and then they'll get that initialed by a teacher. There's also a spot for parent-teacher comments. And then at the top, this is a spot where I either have the students clip this little corner off or fold it down, and it just makes it easier to find the day that they need to be accessing, because they'll be accessing it between 4 and 7 times throughout the day in order to write down their agenda for every class. So this is their agenda at a glance. I hope that your student does a good job of keeping up with their agenda. I would encourage you as a parent or guardian to ask them if you can see their agenda daily. It's going to allow you to see what it is that they've been working on, and it's also a way for you to reinforce that this is an extremely important tool for them to stay engaged and have ownership over their learning at Whittle Springs. If you have any questions, please reach out to your student's homeroom teacher, and they would be happy to help you or answer any questions about your student's agenda. Thank you.